Hi, this is Walt Mossberg, personal technology columnist from the Wall Street Journal, and this is the week. For months, people have been going crazy about this forthcoming device called the iPhone from Apple. Here it is. It goes on sale Friday at 6 p.m. And in the 16 years I have been reviewing tech products, I cannot remember any product having this kind of hype and high expectations surrounding it. So it was quite interesting for me to be testing it the last 2 weeks. I conducted my tests in a number of cities on both the east and west coasts. I used it in airports and Starbucks and my house and office and Fenway Park in Boston on streets, and it is certainly the most beautiful and the most radical smartphone or handheld computer I have ever tested. Starting with the physical, as you can see, it's very thin. It's actually thinner than, for instance, the Samsung Blackjack, which is quite a skinny phone. And yet it has this enormous 3.5-inch screen, which takes up most of the front of it. It does not have a keyboard. It uses a virtual keyboard on the screen. And when this was first announced by Apple in January, when the phone was disclosed, I was among many, many people who thought this was a real deal-breaker feature. I have to say that 3 days into testing the thing, I wanted to throw it out the window because the keyboard was so difficult to use and I was so slow and making so many errors on it. But 5 days in, I suddenly found that I could type as well and as fast as I have been typing on my Trio's physical keyboard for years. So my conclusion is that the keyboard issue on the iPhone is a non-issue. The phone has a tremendous web browser, the best I have ever seen on a handheld device. It actually shows you the real layout and the real totality of the web pages you're looking at. It doesn't rearrange them or stack them or do all the funny things that you're used to on a phone. And if you want to zoom in and read a section of a web page, you just double tap with your finger. The email program on it is also very PC or computer-like. It shows you a preview of the email, and if, let's say, there's a photo that's been sent in the email, that photo, you don't have to click separately to see it. It shows up right there in the email. The phone part of it is fine. I wouldn't say it was the best voice quality I've ever heard on a phone, but it was okay. The big drawback to the iPhone, in my opinion, is the fact that it only runs on one carrier in the United States, and that's AT&T. Apple and AT&T did an exclusive deal. It is not a short-term exclusive deal either. I do not expect any time in the foreseeable future to see this phone in a version from Verizon or Sprint or T-Mobile. And in fact, it's locked so that you can't even put in a T-Mobile card and use it on the T-Mobile network. Now, AT&T is the biggest carrier in the U.S., so why do I consider that a downside? Well, we all know that coverage varies, and if you're in an area without a great AT&T coverage, no matter how much you lust after this thing, it's not going to be very useful if you can't make calls on it. The other problem is that the data part of this, and remember I said it has a wonderful email program and a wonderful web browser, but those depend, of course, on a fast connection to the internet. And this phone runs on a cell network that AT&T has that's called Edge, which is quite slow compared to the faster networks that even AT&T has on some other phones and that Verizon and Sprint have on some Trios and Blackberries and other competitors. So if you are relying on the cell phone network for internet access on this, it is fairly slow. The saving grace is the iPhone also has Wi-Fi. There are a few other smartphones with that, but not many. And Apple has designed the Wi-Fi part of this beautifully so that when you walk into a room or a Starbucks or someplace where there's a Wi-Fi network the phone knows about, it instantly switches you to Wi-Fi for your internet access, and of course that really flies. But when you're on the move, if you're in a cab going through a city and you're trying to do web browsing or email, you're pretty much stuck with the slower cell phone network called Edge. Well, there's a lot more to say about this, and I've covered a lot more of the details in my column in the Wall Street Journal and on WSJ.com and on allthingsd.com. But this is a fascinating product that I think raises the bar for all other smartphones. This is Walt Mossberg, and I'll see you next week.